Back to American Warrior Radio, right here on the Talk to Me station, AM 1060 WMEL, and online worldwide at 1060WMEL.com, sponsored by AVET Project. That was a fast-going first segment, Glenn. We covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, and it's always fast-going lately. I don't know what the deal is, but we love it.
And we really appreciate everybody dropping in and listening to American Warrior Radio. I wanted to follow up because just, on Monday, November 9th, save the date. This is Firearms Fun Night. Firearms provided by Kel-Tec. We're going to be at Frog Bones Shooting Center, 404 South Harbor City Boulevard in Melbourne. There's tons of activities, but we want you to sign up. You go to Kim, K-I-M, at avetproject.org. We have very limited space here, folks. It's a competition, but a friendly one. And at the end of the evening, we're going to be doing a drawing for a Kel-Tec CMR 30. This is an awesome firearm. Nobody can get these in stock because they're such a hot item. It's a 22 Magnum. First place is going to get 15 additional free tickets all the way through fifth place. So show up, have some fun, but you got to pre-register. Kim at avetproject.org. That's Firearms Fun Night, sponsored by Kel-Tec, and we're doing it at Frog Bones Family Shooting Center in Melbourne. Check it out. It's just $50. You get ammo, gun, snack. It's going to be awesome. So check that out. Also, get your $10 drawing tickets for the Kel-Tec by stopping in at Frog Bones. So there's a lot going on there, and we're going to have fun. Don't forget to get your flowers at Bloomers, and don't forget to get your watch batteries at John's Fine Jewelry.
All right, so we're going to crank along here with one of our favorite experts.
Oh yeah, this is the time of the month, every last Saturday, that we feature Dr. Scott Fairchild with his segment, Heal the Warrior, Heal the Country, and he has a special guest for us, so go ahead and cue that music, Vince. And Doc, we're so glad to have you again. You are everywhere all the time. And I got to tell you, being here with your segment, Heal the Warrior, Heal the Country, means so much to us and our audience. So thanks again, sir.
It's such an honor to be here, Garen and Glenn. We've done some activities out there with you guys, out on the cruises and Operation Surf, and out there with the folks at the PNR, or the R&R.
Yeah, the PRNR program, it really reaches out and impacts our warfighter community in a very positive way, and you're an integral part of that.
It has been so helpful to see these veterans just kind of come around and really have the camaraderie that's just like being back on active duty. It's really positive. A lot of times, when we come on the show, we talk about post-traumatic stress disorder, we talk about sleeplessness and problems with this and problems with that. And many times we don't pause and focus on the positive aspects of individuals who've kind of come back from a war or whatever it might be, and I call it successfully integrate to a certain degree their experiences. And I'm really pleased today to have with me my cousin from all the way up north in Appleton, Wisconsin. I think he probably thawed out on the way down here, and so. Great to have him here today, because as I was growing up, I always kind of looked up to him as a person who went off to Vietnam and served his country and came back and absorbed all of that stuff, and was able to successfully get involved in a career and was able to develop a great family and being able to do so well. So I think we really also have to look at the things that people do to successfully integrate. Sometimes it's putting some of that stuff in the closet. Sometimes it's working it through, but we know that it is always having a good, supportive spouse. We know that from all of our wars, and how much difference that makes.
Which we have her in the studio with us. So introduce your guest.
My guest is Tom Bartel, and he's from Appleton, Wisconsin, and he served in Vietnam. He now does some things with some of the veterans groups up in Wisconsin, and we're pleased to have him here with us today.
Well, hi, Tom. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you for having me. Anyway, like Scott just said, I put it in the closet for a lot of years, and in the last 3-4 years, I've got involved with, I'm a life member of the Vietnam vets, life member of Disabled American Vets, and also joined the Patriot Guard, where we stand for funerals in respect of the veteran and create a comforter circle for the family.
Outstanding. And PGR is a wonderful organization, the Patriot Guard Riders. And you brought your wife with you today, Elaine. Thank you so much for being here.
Welcome.
So Tom and Doc was talking about this successful reintegration. First of all, thank you for your service to our country in Vietnam. You made it back, which is an accomplishment, I guess, to say. But as Doc was talking about, give us an idea of some of the issues that you faced and how you overcame them when you came back from Vietnam.
Well, we were treated very poorly, but I was very fortunate. I got a job within a couple of weeks. I just forgot about the whole thing and forgot about it for 42 years.
Okay. Now, Doc, this is a common theme, isn't it?
Oh, this is so classic, absolutely. And, you know, I'll have folks that come into the office and, you know, they'll say that I put it in the closet, I pushed it away. And often we see that a lot of times folks will work. You know, we all hear about drugs, we hear about this, we hear about that. That people go off the path and do bad things, but we also realize that there's a large contingent, particularly with our Vietnam veterans, there's a large contingent of individuals that for their therapy, they use their work. Some people work 2, 3, 4 jobs. And when you're working and when you're busy, guess what? All of that emotion gets pushed away. And you
like compartmentalize, is that the right word?
It does, exactly. That's the right word. Just like a pilot when they have to fly, they compartmentalize all of their problems at home and put it away so that they can focus on what they're doing. And that's so true with our veterans. And often what happens is they come back and they work those jobs, and then all of a sudden, well, guess what happens? We retire. And when we retire, I've had people sit in my office and say, wow, this stuff comes back. It's like a tsunami wave that kind of creeps back in, and it's just as alive as it was 42 years ago. And so they say, where did this stuff come from? And all of a sudden, your anesthetic or your numbing, whether, you know, for some it was alcohol, for some it was drugs, for some it was this, or for many it was work. All of a sudden, that anesthetic's not there anymore. That work is not there anymore, and when you have a lot of quiet time, the mind starts to drift back and think about some of these things. So I like what Tom did about getting active with the veteran community, because that in itself is therapy.
Agree, Glenn?
Oh, absolutely, and certainly I agree with what the doc is outlining there, because in my 22 years as a manager of the County Veteran Service Office, I can't tell you how many people I saw in exactly that circumstance. They had retired from their job recently, and it came out, Mr. PTSD jumped out of the closet and didn't know what to do, and they were, you know, kind of messed up and in need of proper help. And so, talking about help, what kinds of things are offered, not by the VA necessarily, but just as a community of psychiatrists and psychologists for help for these people?
We're so blessed here in Brevard County. We are a very veteran-friendly county, and what's fantastic is there's so many resources. What's important is having someone you can talk to connect with. And I'm not just talking about a therapist, because any other veteran is a therapist. When you can talk to a fellow veteran and share your experiences, when you can go and participate in the Patriot Guard, when you can go to events and participate in some of the great events that the AVIT Project has ongoing, doing those things brings veterans together. And number one, you don't feel so all alone. I've had so many veterans come back and say, well, I kept it inside because I thought it was crazy. I thought I was crazy. And eventually they come to realize that they're not alone, that there are other people who've had these experiences as well. And they can sit down and talk about it a little bit and get it out. I sometimes say it's important to get it out that way, because it's like coming out of a tea kettle, the steam coming out, instead of pouring it all out at once and scalding yourself with it.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense. Tom, can you relate to that? Is that kind of the pattern or the path that you've taken?
Yes, very much so.
Okay, so you mentioned that you worked, and that was an entire career. How long have you guys been married, first of all, you and Elaine?
43 lovely years.
Congratulations.
And that is fantastic, and I've got to tell you that's unusual, because the average Vietnam veteran has 3.2 wives. Now, I don't know how you count that .2, but 3.2 wives. And so we know that sometimes the experiences that occurred over in Vietnam have an impact on relationships. And, you know, there's increased irritability, frustration, conflict, and it sometimes impacts children as well.
So to have that rock, that foundation of a supportive spouse.
That's amazing. That's
and
amazing.
43 years, I'd say that qualifies.
It does. It sure does.
So tell us a little bit. You worked an entire career, and then you retired, and then what happened?
Well, I worked 38 years for a company called Miller Electric in Appleton, and I retired, and we bought a condo, lived in a condo, and I was 7 months that did nothing, but it was boring. I had to get out and do something. It just, I got to be active. So I worked some part-time jobs. I actually went back to the company I worked for. I worked through a temp service. I worked for them, for Miller Electric, another 1.5 years. And then things got slow, so they kind of let me go. And then I worked for another 6-8 months. And when I turned 67, I said, that's enough. I don't want to report to nobody. I want to be my boss, do what I want, when I want.
Exactly. And Glenn, we've had such wonderful support from the local Patriot Guard Riders, one of the groups that Tom is engaged with. And there are others, but in your experience, that is important to get involved in another group just to give you something else to do. I don't know if you'd call it a coping method.
It's having a purpose.
Having a purpose?
Yeah, well, I can speak from experience as I've been retired for a little over 2 years, and continuing my volunteer work and helping veterans gives me a sense of purpose, a sense of pride, and I know that it's important both for me and the veterans. So yes, absolutely, and you need to keep active and doing something positive. Don't go sit at the bar and drink beer all day long.
That's right. Having that purpose is so important. I once said in my own office, you know, I wore the uniform for 21 years, but I feel like I can still serve, even though I'm not wearing the uniform, by helping other veterans. And that's what I see each and every one of you doing. And that's heartwarming. It just makes you feel like part of the team. It makes you feel like you've made a contribution, and so that part is important. I think there was one other important job that I recall that Tom used to do. I don't think it was really a job. I think he just enjoyed it too much. But I think, if I recall correctly, he used to go and serve beer at the Green Bay Packer games, didn't he?
Yes, sir.
That's it.
Okay,
volunteer
Phyllis,
bartender.
I think you got free admission, though. I think there was a payoff to that. In between passing them down, you could watch the game. That's right. That's it.
Yes, I did. I worked at Miller Electric for 38 years, and I also worked at Lambeau Field for 38 years.
There you go.
I
Cool.
sold beer for 32 years, and the last 6 years, I was an usher. They paid me to watch the game.
The frozen tundra. That must have been a hoot.
That was awesome. It was a great experience.
So during football season, 8 times, and plus the preseason, I'm sure you were out there watching them.
Oh, yes.
Well, I'm sure they were happy to have you, and it's something to keep yourself busy. But do you think now, Tom, that you've been retired and things have slowed down, you've stopped all the other work, that you're going to have any of these thoughts or flashbacks or occurrences that you endured in Vietnam come back and visit you, or have you had that experience yet?
I've had very little. I've been very fortunate on that aspect of it, but no, I think I'll be fine.
See, and that's excellent, and I think it's largely because of Tom's preparation and his support from his family. And keeping busy, keeping active, and like he said, after 7 months, sitting around gets old. And if you look at the statistics from Boeing and from Lockheed, individuals who stay on the job for the full gamut, over 30 years, those retiring at age 55 tend to go out and find other things to do. But those hanging on till 65 or 70, actually their life expectancy is diminished because they feel like they've stayed to the end to get the gold watch, and then they just say, well, I'm going to sit around and do nothing. And for Lockheed, the average life expectancy was 17 months. And for Boeing, it was 18 months. What that says to me is those individuals crossed arms, stacked arms, sat back, and didn't have a purpose. So my challenge to each and every one of you out there as listeners, whether you're a veteran or not, my challenge to you is to always have a purpose. Always have a purpose. And that can be volunteering, giving back, playing it forward, keeping a part-time job, or serving the beer at your favorite team's stadium.
Yeah, for sure. And I just want to note that the parallel that you've just described and our warfighters coming back from the battlefields in Iraq and Afghanistan, where they may be injured and receiving compensation enough to at least, pay the bills. Not that they're going to get rich by any stretch, but the country owes them this debt, particularly those that have serious enough disabilities to rate 50% and higher with the VA. So they're not able to work, and they need to get busy too. They need to plug in somewhere, right?
They absolutely do, because when you're on the receiving end of the benefits, if you just sit around, it can cause a lot of emotional difficulties. So we have a couple young veterans getting together and trying to open up a little bait shop You know, they're moving forward on that and trying to get some plans together up here on the Pineda. There's really no area that has a bait shop, and so, you know, they've even come up with a name for it. It's going to be called We Got Your Six, or Got Your Six Bait Shop. And they figure it's a place for, you know, to support veterans. People can come there and buy their bait, and they can buy some snacks as well, and I think that will be a good plan. It keeps them busy. It keeps them out of trouble.
And I remember you bringing that up on a prior Heal the Warrior, Heal the Country segment, and that is super cool. That they would come together, you know, jointly and pursue a dream, if not a dream, just something to keep themselves active. And now you mentioned, Tom, I want to get back to you for a moment, the Patriot Guard Riders, and you're involved with your life member, the Disabled American Veterans, and so on and so forth. Do you participate? How do you find out what's going on with the PGR? Do they send you emails? How do you get plugged in for those that are listening that haven't been?
It's on the internet. Every time there's a mission, it pops up. If you want to go, you go. If you can make it, that's how it works.
Okay, and what got you interested in it? Who introduced the idea to you?
Well, being involved with the Vietnam vets, our commander is he's in charge. He's our ride captain for, and he just says, "Would that be something you'd like to do?" And I said, "Sure." So I just went in a couple funerals, and that's how I got started. And I go to funerals now, and I cry with everybody else.
And whether that's a flag line, you don't have to be a motorcycle rider.
No, you do not.
And that's a misconception, Glenn. People think, oh, Patriot Guard riders, motorcycles only.
I was just going to ask that question, so I'm glad you brought that up.
No, everybody's welcome to join the PGR, and it's just again, it's an entire volunteer effort. People are involved with it because they want to be, and they want to continue to serve their brothers and sisters in arms, even in these times of, you know, horrific grief, Doc.
Well, and that is so important too, to get some sense of closure. Not just closure for them, but closure for you as well. And as you go to the, you know, I was so impressed. I was down in the south part of the county. One of our veterans who we fought for a year and a half to get his benefits, and finally the benefits came through, and he got the back pay, and he was able to pay off the credit cards. And 2 months later, he had a heart attack and died, unfortunately. So his wife had asked if I would deliver the flag to her. So we do that quite often, and sadly, but it's an opportunity for closure, and it's an honor to deliver the flag to the surviving spouse. And you know, as the Patriot Guard was there, and you know, the gun salute and the professionalism, you know, they're in their, although they're not in uniform, they have the black jackets, but it's just so impressive, and it makes you feel like you're back part of the family, part of the military family that you were once a part of.
So you just have to step out, and I think Dr. Ken Vihek and you have talked about that. We can reach out to these guys and gals, but they have to reach back.
That's correct.
And get plugged in.
They do. There are some people also, you reach out 1 or 2 or 3 times, and they may push away at first. You keep on trying. I mean, there comes a point at which some people just, you know, kind of disappear. But if you keep on trying, you keep on inviting them in. You know, they always say that in order to get into my office, it takes 6 veterans telling a veteran, you need to go.
Yeah, and we've seen that. We've seen that. And, well, you brought it up. So how can people get plugged in with you and the awesome treatment that you provide our veteran community, as well as others, I'm sure? But how can they find out about Baytree Behavioral Health?
They can connect with us at baytreebehavioralhealth.com, or they can give us a call at 321-253-8887. We'll be happy to help them out. We've just added some new staff members. So we've added a new staff member, Crystal Turman, who herself was a helicopter repair person overseas, and she met her husband on top of a helicopter in Afghanistan. So
I hope it wasn't flying at the time.
That's right. That's right. And she has experience there and experience at the Cape working on the shuttle. And she's now a licensed clinical social worker. She joins us next week. So she's not only a service member, she's a spouse as well, and she's going to be available to see folks on TRICARE and Medicare and the like. So we're always adding folks to be able to support our military community.
Is she going to be available to come onto the show one time?
You know, we're going to do that. I keep teasing her because she had a helicopter. They had a helicopter go down over there for maintenance. And they had to be evacuated to direct support maintenance, which would have taken a month to get it out of country and bring it back. Well, she's short, and she's small. And so when the commander wasn't looking, her maintenance crew lifted her up sideways and stuffed her into the side of the helicopter. And she went into the engine and somehow repaired the part, and the helicopter was back up in the air in a day.
Holy
Cool.
cow.
They said when they took the picture,
Got the job done.
we'll bring her on the show.
Oh,
Great,
for sure.
great.
And again, the Heal the Warrior, Heal the Country segment is every last Saturday of the month. I want to mention also, AVET Project held PR&R retreat recently in August up in Oregon, which we do as we have resources, people. This is a very, very positive program. Glenn, you've been a part of it now as the Veteran Service Officer, both on the PR&R retreat cruise at 9/11 and also the recent one we held here at Cocoa Beach. I just want to mention, Doc, you even Skype as well.
We do, and I think that one came at about 11 p.m. Local time. I was a little bit dreary-eyed, but we talked it through.
Yeah, and it was a big screen, so it was like you were right in the room. It was phenomenal. But I was saying, Glenn, these guys and gals come to PR&R not knowing what to expect. It's a well-rounded, kind of a comprehensive program. But the idea is we got to challenge them, not just to come and fill their heads, but they have to act also.
Oh, absolutely, and on both the PR&R retreats that I was on, I noted the same thing. We come across veterans who either haven't ever heard of a benefit, I'm working one now, or that they would most likely qualify for, or we've come across somebody who's heard some stuff on the street that's totally wrong. That's why you need to, you got questions, go see people like me or some other accredited veteran service officer, and I might include in there me or Garen, but there's just too much wrong information floating around. It's like the old insurance thing that's still out there. It says, if you ever served in the military, you can get insurance from the VA. No problems. They'll pay you some dividends and so forth and so on. And that's still ongoing. So
Bunk.
yeah, very much bunk.
And we debunk.
Just too much bad information out there.
Exactly, and that's one of the missions of American Warrior Radio, which is sponsored by AVET Project, and Heal the Warrior, Heal the Country are always offering incredible ways that these guys and gals can cope and reintegrate successfully like you did, Tom. Maybe not plowing headfirst into a career of 38 years, but getting involved, yeah?
Absolutely getting involved, and we look forward to hearing from you. We've got groups, individual therapy, we've got a lot of activities, and we so appreciate supporting AVET Project anytime we can.
Web address and phone number one more time, Doc.
That's BayTreeBehavioralHealth.com, and that's 321-253-8887.
And we want to thank you, Tom, and Elaine, your lovely wife, for stopping in here on this beautiful day, first weekend in November. And hopefully we'll see you, Doc, at the shootout day after tomorrow on Monday night.
I don't know about that. We'll see if we can make it.
Okay. Glenn, we can never leave the show without emphasizing one thing that we talk about all too often, and that is that there are at least 22 service members or past service members each day that are taking their own lives. What's one little way that we can help prevent that?
Yeah, well, let me say first, personally, that's 22 too many. But there is a Veterans Crisis Line, and you can get that at 1-800-273-8255. Press 1 as a veteran or a concerned person about a veteran. Again, take this down, 1-800-273-8255. Press 1. And as always, don't forget, thank a vet.
Awesome.
We did it.
That's it.
All righty.
All right, woohoo!
Yeah, all
See how
right.
quick time flies?
It just zips by.
It's nuts.
My ears are wet.
It's a wonder.